Welcome, everybody, to episode 17 of the Big Ben and Friends podcast. I am your host, Big Ben Ortmanns, and this week, I'm going to be getting to know one of my friends from the pro wrestling business a little bit better. He is one of those guys, ladies and gentlemen, that when you find out that you're booked on a card and you see that you're booked on a card with Ben Boone, you know you're in for a good day. It doesn't matter what the show is. I've done some of the best shows with this guy. I've done some of the worst shows with this guy, and you just know that no matter the quality of the show, whatever's going to happen that night, if Boone's there, you're in for a fun night. This guy works his ass off. Like, I mean, he's one of the very few guys that to this day, before COVID hit, I mean, he's one of the guys, he's just a grinder. Like, sometimes I see him booked more in Canada than I do a lot of Canadians. You know, that's how much was over here and working. He's one of those guys that just, it doesn't matter what is going on, you'll see him at a show somewhere. This guy hustles. He's also that guy that if you just tune into a random Monday, Friday pay-per-view, you'll see him. It's almost a fun drinking game. Like, it's kind of just like, I don't even know what show is on this week, but let's just tune in. There's Boone. Take a shot. Boom. You just see him everywhere. He's one of the most fun guys to be around in the locker room. He's a guy that I have been using for crossbody very, very happily. And he's one of those guys that I'm sure you see on your TV all the time and you just don't even realize it. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bachelor, Benjamin Boone. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, man, with that hell of an intro, I mean, where do we go from here? I hope not to disappoint.
off the cuff that was, too. I didn't write anything down. I've been trying to not write stuff down because I want to see. I'm like, what can I remember? I know that Boone's a good brother. Let's just see what I got off the old cuff.
You mean you were in the back, talking it over for like the past couple hours and like, shit, it's this word, duck the, damn it, okay.
Okay, listen, I'm not going to lie. Maybe I called a spot maybe before the show, but for the most part, I called that bad bitch on the fly. I think I had I think I knew where I was going, but I was just like, we'll figure it out when we get there.
That reminds me, so we're going to start off with a name drop, so hold out your hands, please, because this was an, you mentioned me being in a Raw or SmackDown or whatever, so this was at an NXT, and this was the NXT where Jim Ross, catch it, was in the back. He was there to announce the Tyler Bate and Bruiserweight match for NXT, and it was so fucking awesome. So awesome.
Was that the one that was in New York? Fuck
Chicago.
Yeah. Chicago. Okay. Yeah.
Chicago. Yeah. And I dropped a swear. I'm sorry, for the children that are listening. So.
I swear, dude, this is why I have a podcast, is because for Crossbody, it's a family show. I need an outlet where I could just shit.
Fuck yeah.
Got it. Welcome to my fucking outlet.
Hell ass kinks. All right. So, so this was like right in the back in catering, and Jim Ross, he's there to get some food and everything, and he sees Pat Patterson. He's sitting by himself, eating his delicious catering that I know you've experienced.
We'll talk about that later.
Pat's like,
go on now.
Comes up to Pat just off the cuff, like, "Hey Pat, you've been sitting back here talking about your match all night?" and Pat's like, "Oh no, I haven't." Well, goddamn, I haven't either. And he just walks off.
I love how like those I hate saying older guys, but I mean there's just no other way to explain them. But like our forefathers, how much they can just piss all over us, and they do so in a way. And it's funny because I've had other experiences where like while I was doing extra work, like veterans will come to other extras and just tear them to fucking shreds, like in front of everybody. Like, I won't say who, but there was one person who got a match on Raw, and it was a squash match. I think it was the first time that I was there, and they were out there doing some in-ring stuff, like just kind of, they wanted to see what this person was capable of, and you could just tell that it wasn't going very smoothly, and you can kind of see a couple other people kind of giving the like,
oh boy,
faces, and you could do one of two things. Like, you could laugh and be like, this person's gonna fucking eat shit, but like part of me was just like, like I don't like being that person. Like I like to, if someone's going to get an opportunity, like I want them to do well. Right. But like, you could just kind of see that it was like they were going to they were moving forward with it regardless. And they did it, but you could just tell that it was going to be a rough fucking go. So then we're back into wonderful catering. Yes. It's heaven. And then all of a sudden, Michael Hayes just walks up to this person and says, "How many matches you had?" And this person says, "About 600." At which point, all of us extras just went,
Oh, boy.
"That wasn't the right answer." Even if that's the right answer, that wasn't the right answer. And he literally just kind of did one of these, like, there ain't no goddamn way that you had 600 fucking matches. God damn it. And turned around and walked away.
And you know, if people ask how many matches you had, it's generally not going to be followed up with positivity or anything. That's usually like hey, how many matches you had? Because you suck. That's generally the direction that goes. So, and that's funny that you brought that up because that's what we really bonded. I felt was that we met initially, I believe, at the those CCW fair shows, and then we were messaging each other back and forth because it wasn't, I think, too long after where we initially met. You were doing extra work, I think, in Ohio, I think in Columbus, if memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, it was Columbus for the Fastlane pay-per-view where I did the doctor thing with Kofi, and then we did Raw in Detroit, and then SmackDown in Indianapolis.
Yep, because and just getting a feel of like what to expect and everything.
And I messaged you figuring you would be on the loop because you're from Ohio. Mm-hmm. But if I remember correctly, they booked you the week previous for like a Green Bay, Wisconsin loop.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. It was Green Bay and Milwaukee. Yep. Okay. So sometimes how they coordinate things, I don't question because who knows. But I mean, it's good to get an opportunity regardless. Yeah. And because certainly your first time being there, it's frightening. It's scary because there are so many moving parts. There's just so much going on. People that you've grown up seeing on TV. It's like, oh, shit, there's no big deal. There's Triple H walking by, oh, there's Michael Hayes, dooting, down the hallway, how many matches you had? No, but
bro, at one point in time, I was like trying to find a lid for the coffee cups. And I'm getting nervous because Arn Anderson is beside me and he's like trying to get in, and I already feel like an asshole that I'm holding up Arn Anderson. And then I turned and I looked at him and I'm nervous as hell. And I'm just like, do you know where the coffee cup lids are, sir? And as I'm saying that, I'm just like, there's no fucking way you just asked Arn Anderson where the goddamn coffee cup lids are.
You're stupid.
Like there's literally, I mean, bless everybody who can, but I did a lot of research. There's nothing that could prepare you for that first time.
Nothing that does.
Nope.
And the first time that I did extra work, this is going to blow your mind. It was in May 2010 in Detroit for the Over the Limit pay-per-view. It was me and one other person, 2 people.
That's it.
That was it.
Because if I remember correctly, I think that I was in groups of like 13 or 15 or something crazy like that.
Yeah, like now, I mean, well, pre-COVID, I mean, I'm not sure, how with, I know that they're a little bit more strict in Florida, because everything's become more localized, but yeah.
Shout out to Xavier Walker, who got some extra work recently, by the way.
Hell yeah, good on him. Congratulations to him. A lot of good brothers are, have gotten those opportunities, but yeah, it was me and one other guy from, I think, OVW I've never met before, and, he was friendly, but man, talk about scary. And I was by myself for that. Now, thankfully, it was an instance where they needed guys called in for a spot. with John Cena Batista. This was like the night before Batista, quit on Raw in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
So when Batista took that tumble, from when they were brawling in the crowd. So, I mean, I called in, some of my friends like Brian Castle, Crimson, CK3, Brian Bender, to help fill in the gaps. Because, I mean, they needed guys to catch Batista, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. So they left you in charge of that?
I was from the area, so yeah, that was solely on me. So I came in not only basically by myself, but oh shit, we need guys. You call people.
You good brothered paydays, and that is good brothering right there. Good for you.
Thank you.
Good brother catering and paydays. I have to throw out catering as well.
You have to.
We will shout catering out so many times throughout this podcast. Trust me.
Oh, absolutely. And the people that are in charge of catering, the woman that's in charge of her name's Jen. Like, she's from Maine, I believe. Like, the sweetest woman in the world. So I'm sure you've seen her with all the tattoos and everything.
I think that I heard that she left.
Oh man,
it was like a year and a half ago. But you've been there recently than I was. But like I remember there was I want to say like a Filipino lady when I was there. She was there all the times that I was there. But my God, did she was it was to the point where like every time I would go and grab something, I would find her and just thank her. And I'm like, I don't know if this is the right thing to do, but I was like, thank you so much. This is so good.
Absolutely. And that's a key thing in life, whether it's in the pro wrestling industry, office jobs. I mean, be friends with the people that serve you food.
Yeah. But I also noticed that like I also wasn't the only one. Like you could tell very much that like the catering people are almost kind of like the den mothers.
Yes.
Because they gotta feed the crew, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's certainly true, and not just WWE, but everywhere. Like, people think that it's only the wrestlers that matter, and no, that's not the case. The people put the ring together, students, the refs, the production people. I mean, you've done your fair share of production work with Impact, so I mean, for sure how important your job is. So I mean, knowing all those facets of the business and knowing everybody, I mean, that's the key, man. I mean, treat everyone with respect, obviously, but recognize and know that there are so many working parts to a working show, no matter if it's the fair show or if it's to a live production that's on national television every week.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that's crazy, actually, I kind of want to like almost put over something that you just mentioned is the one thing I didn't realize about production is I remember one time it was like I think it was on a CM Punk documentary where I heard him say something to the effect of like he was one of the few guys that knew how to time out a show, and I didn't really know what that meant until I got the job to time out a show, and then I was taught how to time a show out, and then it dawned on me. I was just like, oh wow, like the person that does that is literally the unsung hero of every single episode of every single wrestling show that has ever been produced. The talent in the ring and all that other stuff is like the objects, that whoever it is that like that team of people, the person that's timing out the show in Gorilla or whatever the company wants to call it, the go position at Impact, the referee, and the director that's in the truck. That 3-person team is probably the most important team other than the wrestlers on that entire fucking show.
Absolutely. And that's one thing that I really have to give you props for at Crossbody is that, you're in the back, you're timing out everything, from entrances to everything in the ring to when the match is over and everyone has to come back. I mean, you're back there timing out everything, what you've learned from Impact, and bringing it to your home promotion and teaching it to your crew and your students, and I have to say you're one of the only people around that does that. So, I mean, I have to give you props for that.
Well, I thank you. But at the same time, I also would feel like an asshole if I didn't, because, the whole point of these shows, like because I do that for the Showcase Series shows, I do that for the regular shows that we do. But if you'll notice, everybody that has come from our system, and this isn't to toot my own horn or to toot our own horn or whatever for our group, but you look at Alexia Nicole, you look at even Crystal Moon, when she did her match with Havoc on Impact.
Mm-hmm.
You look at even Brandon Tidwell and Mr. Atlantis when they did work with Impact. I think it was like a year and a half ago or something along those lines. Pretty Ricky did a match that aired on Explosion. It was a tag team match. You look at anybody that's come from our system that has gone on to do work with TV, and they just stick out more than everybody because they understand that's what they've been doing. It's what they've been working on. Like, those are the reps that they're getting. They're not just getting, like, you know, reps, which are important. You know, every match is important. Every match that you do is important. And it's important to utilize, you know, everything that you do. Every match is an opportunity, right? But when you get those reps of not just having a match, but then having to figure out how to work within those constraints that are given to you from like a major company, for example, it's not all of a sudden this like culture shock when they come to you and they're just like, hey, you got to do this, and you're just like, what are you even talking about? Because I've watched that happen as well, where people just didn't even understand. And the funny thing is, I was there with Crystal Moon during her Impact match, and you know, I'm watching her get ready, I'm watching her get nervous, as expected. Like, she's still very new at this. Like, the opportunity couldn't have come up any more last minute, because it was like day 2 of the tapings, and I didn't want to impose on anybody to crash at their place in Windsor, so I just drove home to Kitchener and then just drove back the next day, which was like 3.5 hours each way. So I did that, but then as I got home, it's like 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Damore hit me up and he's just like, do you got a capable girl? And I was just like, give me 1 minute. And I called Crystal Moon like right away, woke her up, and I was just like, can you be ready to go by 6 a.m.? Yep. To her credit, she did it. She was just like, it's a whirlwind, right? Because you're kind of like, whoa, wait, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what? So I'm watching her kind of process everything and get ready. And then when I sat her down and I just explained to her, I'm like, listen, it's the exact same thing that we do at the gym every single rep. It's literally the exact same. You've got this much time. You're working this opponent. This is your role. You know where this camera is. You know where the hard camera is. You know where your roamers are. Look, 1 hard cam, 2 roamers. What do we have at the gym? 1 hard cam, 2 roamers. What do you got telling you where you're going? Referee, right? Who's listening back to the guy. What do you got at crossbody? Referee. It's talking to the guy. It's literally the same thing. Do you know what the difference is? Just a couple more people.
Hold on a second, babe.
Exaggeration, but I'm also trying not to. I'm also trying not to frighten the dear girl. Yeah. And then the funny thing is you could even go back and watch her entrance. You could just see it in her face. She was just like, yeah, that's what this is. Boom. She got in the ring and then looked at the hard cam, did her thing, and I was just like, she's fine. Like, and she did great. Like, and when she got back, the first thing she said to me, she was just like, it was literally the exact same thing that we did back at the gym, except there was just way more people. And I'm like, yeah, I just didn't want to mention the way more people part, but now you get it.
Exactly. I mean, and once you are further trained in that, I mean, you get it and understand it. And that makes me so happy, you know, that you told me that. I mean, you know, 'cause Crystal Moon, I mean, she's really improved leaps and bounds, and she's continuing to improve, you know. So, you know, met her again at the CCW shows, you know, a lot of potential, you know what I mean? But I mean, there was, you know, room to grow, and that's the thing, you know, being with you and you helping her out with that timing and where to position herself and things, you know, she's going to go far. She's going to do well.
She is one of those girls who excited me that I got to train her right from the get-go, because like I knew that like she had a lot of heart and 0 athleticism at the time. And I was just like, okay, so this is going to be a fun project, because like it's going to be really hard for her. And I told her that. I'm like, this is going to be hard. I'm like, but once you get through that like plateau, like, and then you start to build some strength, and like we start to get some, you know, like you start to get this a little bit more, and we get some athleticism into you, like the sky's going to be the limit. And she has worked so fucking hard, bro. And like, she has been doing really, really well. And it's been really fun to watch her coming to her own, and like she's finally hitting that, like she certainly was. She was hitting that, like that stage where it's just like, okay, just get the hell out there and just keep doing what you're doing, because you're on the level to go wherever you got to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, will you be the match of the night? Maybe not. But will you impress people with your raw potential? Every goddamn time you're gonna. And then you know what's gonna happen is then all of those people, when they start to see you, they're gonna be like, oh, well, what happens if we put them with so-and-so? And then next thing you know, you get put with somebody that's on the next level, and then they bring you to their level, and then you keep going, and then you keep working those people, and then it's the boom, 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 boom. You know, like she was right ready to just launch, and then COVID came and kicked us all in the fucking balls.
Exactly. You know what I mean? But I mean, hopefully this will pass. You know, I mean, I feel like we're almost there. We're almost there to that point. You know, we just have to wait it out a little bit further. You know, but anyways,
I think we're definitely a lot closer than what we thought, but at the same time, and I don't know how it is for you guys down there. Like, I mean, I know a little bit because I talk to Fulton probably at least once a week or so. Like, he's become, like, again, one of my best buddies. You know damn well how good of a brother he is, because
damn right.
Yeah. Whoop whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop whoop.
But you know, like he's kind of been giving me like the Iggy and everything, and kind of giving me bit of updates and stuff like that. And I know that you guys are not allowed to wrestle in Ohio yet, but like, how are things looking down there for you? Because we down here, it's very, very strange at the moment. Like, we have the ability, like, there's been a couple of wrestling shows in Ontario. There's also there's a lot of controversy surrounding them, because there's people that are there's promoters. Now, they ain't worth shit, but there's promoters that have come out and they're like trying to attack the promoters that have run these other shows. And it's weird. Like, this is how weird of a time already. Like, because I understand what they're trying to do, but I couldn't possibly think of a more incorrect way of going about it. But the thing is that, like, we have, like, there some guys are running shows outdoors with like 100 people, social distancing and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people are trying to rush to get shows in just because it's September. It's starting to get cold, and you're not going to be able to do that for a while. There's laws of being able to have indoor gatherings of 50. But at the same time, that doesn't really quite qualify for wrestling. It's like, the rules are very, like, nobody really knows. Like, there's a legislation that is like 75% clear about what's going on. Like, we all just and then there's like wiggle room. It's the strangest thing down here. So what's it like down there at the moment?
Yeah, so in the U.S., I mean, it varies by state, because some states are regulated by an athletic commission, other states aren't.
Is Ohio?
Ohio has an athletic commission. Like, wrestlers don't have to get like an athletic commission card, but for promoters, they have to have a license to run a show. Okay. And I think it was just a few days ago where the Ohio Athletic Commission did announce that you could run indoor shows, but at 15% capacity. So there's no point in running a show if you can hold 100 and you max out at 15 people. That's no. So I am doing a show next month. That's going to be an outdoor show in Ohio. So it's for Rockstar Pros. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, seasons in Ohio are just the same as they are in Ontario, where around October it starts to get a little bit colder. So, you know, I've done outdoor shows in October before. It's okay, you know. It gets a little chilly, you know. It's hard to break a sweat, but I mean, it can be done.
It's so. I've found that, like, those outdoor shows, like around this time of year, it's like you try to spend as much time right before you go out, like huddled up and getting like in your hoodie and like nice warm stuff as much as you can. So then that way it's almost like you can try to bring some of that warm out there with you, because that first few minutes you almost kind of need to keep moving and get going. So then that way, like, if you do finally break a sweat, then you don't think about it as much, I find.
Right. Yeah. And You know, and I've seen pictures of shows and like the extreme, like Northern Canadian like death tours where like rings were set up like outside during the snow. I'm like, how the hell can you do that? Like,
So I've seen those pictures, and those guys, they just do that. They were just doing that for fun. Like, those weren't shows or anything.
oh, okay,
Like,
okay. I wasn't sure if there was like an actual crowd there. I was like, oh,
no,
God.
those were like just days off, and like they just set the ring up for pretty much shits and giggles on the frozen lake because they can. Like, what a lot of people don't understand, because to the normal person, the average normal person, if you see a wrestling ring on a frozen lake, you're like, who the fuck are these idiots, and why are they doing that? Like, you're gonna hit a fucking Macho Man elbow drop and just sink and die. That doesn't sound like a good idea at all. Like, cool Instagram video, I guess, like, but who's gonna upload that when you're dead? But that ice is so thick that what a lot of people don't realize is that like transport trucks drive across that stuff. Like, and we're talking like hundreds of kilometers into the lake. So that's how, like, at one point in time, because I've done one of those hell tours with Tony Condello, and our van broke down in the middle of a lake while we were on while we were in the middle of like a 3 or 4 hour like drive, and I was just like,
God,
we're dead. Okay, so this is how we're going, huh? Like, fuck, this sucks. And then next thing I know, a transport truck is coming like through the lake, and Condello worked out a deal and paid this dude we got the van on his transport truck somehow. And then he drove us to safety. I've got a picture somewhere of me and Chi-Chi Cruz hopping on this transport truck somewhere, and we're just like, thumbs up, we're not going to die. This is cool. But
an angel came that day, and he drove a truck.
Disguised as a drunken old man smoking a lot of cigarettes, but bless that angel.
Man, man, yeah, because I've never done one of those hell tours. I'd like to experience one before I hang them up, but I mean, I've heard stories from like Rhino and Joey Legend that did all those hell tours, you know, with Edge and Christian, you know, back in the day.
Yeah.
Especially the infamous one of where their van broke down, and the water was starting to, the ice rather was starting to melt a little bit and sinking in. Now Rhino will maintain that he was not crying, you know, but
yeah,
all
everybody
other accounts have suggested so.
Exactly. Everybody that I've spoken to that was on that tour otherwise, he was crying.
Yes.
Sorry, Rhino.
We love you.
Yeah. He's such a good dude, actually. I remember I messaged him one time just to ask him a question, and then just randomly he just fucking called me. I was like, what? Because I guess he does not text message whatsoever. So
yeah, like he will, and then he'll buzz you because like he's a phone talker, and I'm the same way. I'm a phone talker too, and like, but like Rhino is so invested in helping other people. I mean, he's taken me underneath his wing. You know, I met him through Crimson CK3, and you know, doing all sorts of shows, and he really helped me out in getting my name out there and learning the ins and outs of the business etiquette as well. You know, and for somebody that's been there through all the companies, and he's still working hard, he's still a grinder. I mean, he owns his own boat yard, for God's sakes. So I mean, he makes it happen. So, and that's a big mantra for him, is make it happen. So, I mean, I certainly took that to heart, and I can't thank him enough for him helping me out as much as he did.
he was one of the guys, actually, he's probably, I'd say probably one of like one or two people that when I was doing extra work, like he came to the extras and like didn't shake anybody's hand, fist bumped like a good brother. Which was weird because then when I talked to him afterwards, then he shook my hand. I was just like, oh, he does do that to like some people if he like trusts you, I think. I don't know, but it was just it threw me off is what happened. But he came over and was just like just being really nice to everybody. But then like he recognized a couple of us, and then he gave me like he took me like, because you know where like the extras sit like hard cam so they can watch you and frighten the hell out of you while you're just like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
So when I was on my way back to catering, like he like pulled me aside and he's just like, yo, like, you ever done this before? And I was just like, nah. And he's just like, he's like, oh, okay. And he didn't say that to be rude or whatever, because he just hadn't seen me there before. Right.
Yeah.
So, and like, I think he also knew that, like, from previous conversations, just like on the indies or whatever, that I hadn't done this. So I think he was just making sure. But then when I told him that it was my first time, he gave me one of the best pieces of advice that, like, I didn't even consider at the time. Unfortunately, like, I didn't fully listen because it was probably about a year afterwards that I actually maybe I went the wrong way on his advice or whatever. But like, just thinking about it, I was just like, holy shit. Like, and you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna drop it because I'm gonna drop some knowledge on y'all.
Go on now.
What he said to me was, Ben, don't be that fucking Mark who, when you get through the week and you do something as an extra, that you go and you post those pictures to your social media. Because you know what that shows me? That shows content. That shows content that you're got there and you're just, hey, I'm here. I'm happy I'm here. And I was like, okay. And then he's just like, you're pretty much telling people that you don't want to go any further, that you're cool with just being a fucking asshole with a hot dog on his head dancing around to shitty music. You know what I mean? And I was just like, God damn it, he's right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, in like the weirdest way, he's right. Like, because I think that was like maybe even it was in Detroit that he told me that, now that I remember. And that was the night before is when I did, it was my first night, and that's when I did the Fastlane pay-per-view and did that stuff with Kofi Kingston. And I was just like, yeah, you're right. I'm not gonna. I really didn't have any pictures because I wasn't like, you know how it is on like those loops, especially when it's like the 3-day one. It's just like you're there all day, and then you hopefully find a place to crash. You sleep for about 3 hours, and then you get up and you nervously get to the building super early, and then you're just there again for the day. You know,
Yep.
it's a weird like cycle, right? So you don't really have a whole lot of time to do much. So social media-ing was not very high on the list. But then it was like a year or so later, I want to say, or maybe it was New Year's Eve. I was just feeling really proud of myself because that year, like previous to that year, I had never done anything further than the independents. You know what I mean? I'd never worked for a major company. I'd never been invited to a major company. I was just an indie guy that some people didn't even like. You know what I mean? So I was also that guy that people told that I would never be able to do any of that stuff. I would never get like a look from the WWE. I would never get a look from like Impact or any of that stuff. And then like in this weird year, like I remember that New Year's Eve, a Dave Chappelle special came out on Netflix, and it was on New Year's Eve. And I got up early, and because I did work that day, but I got home early because you get off at like noon or whatever that day. He told a story at the end of that special that literally punched me in the fucking life, basically, is the best way I can explain it. Like, I remember as soon as it was done, like, I felt exhausted. Like, I felt drained. Like, I pretty much like sat there and like cried in my living room because I was just like, holy shit. Like, I gotta, like, I'm not doing the things that I set out to do. Like, I gotta just do this shit, man. Because if I don't, nobody's gonna fucking do this for me. And if I don't even try, like, then what the fuck am I doing? Because that was a big thing too. Is I never even put the effort in to try to get looked at by these major companies because I just figured that based off of the people that were telling me that it wasn't gonna happen, I'm like, oh, they've probably told so and so, like, you know, fuck this guy, don't even look at him, whatever, right? But again, sometimes you just let all of that stuff build up in your own head, and none of that stuff is actually true.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, you know what? I'm fucking going for it, man. So it was probably within a couple of days. I put a package together. Like, I was working out really, really hard, like, at that time. And keep in mind, like, that was New Year's Eve, and the Fastlane pay-per-view was like February something. And like, so it wasn't a few, and you know how, like, at that time, I believe it was like a 6 or 8 week process. So,
yeah.
So it wasn't even a few weeks before I had gotten my shit together and already got accepted to be an extra. And I remember I was at home sick that day. And like I'd worked throughout the day, and like I was dying. And I got home and I slept. And for some reason, and I never do this, but I slept with my phone on my stomach, like, and which is like still to this day, I don't know why. But then next thing I know, like about an hour and a half later, I was just woken up by the vibration of my phone, and I was like, what the fuck? And like, I'm just all out of it. And then I looked up, and then I looked at my phone, and then I like kind of scrolled down, and I saw an email, and it just said John Cone, and it just had the like Fastlane, Raw, SmackDown, and then it had the dates as the title of the email. And I was like, wait a sec, I've never gotten an email that said that before. What the fuck? And I just like kind of did one of those, like, what is going on? Like trying not to like throw up from being sick, trying to like wake up and do the whole thing. And I'm like,
you're just like, what?
cried immediately, fucking trying to like stop crying now from just thinking about it. But like, you know, a lot of people might think of that now and just be like, oh, well, becoming an extra is actually kind of easy. And I'm not going to lie, it kind of is. Or at least it was anyway, before all this stuff. But goddamn, I was just like, holy shit, like it happened. You know what I mean? So like, I was just, I was proud of that, almost in a way that like most people were proud of like signing a contract, because I was just like, I became that guy that people like laugh at, where you're just like, I became the guy that Rhino literally just said, don't be that guy. Yes. But I was just like, you know what? Like, I don't think you understand. Like, I'm excited at that, but thanks to him, I kept that bottled. But then it wasn't like another few weeks later. Next thing I know, I'm fucking, I'm at the Impact pay-per-view, like there to just help out. Like I had no intention on doing anything. You know what I mean? And then Scott hit me up like 45 minutes or so before the pay-per-view started and asked me, he's like, hey, can you time the pay-per-view out tonight? Yeah. What? So I accepted a job 45 minutes before going on a live pay-per-view. Big pay-per-view, by the way, the Slammiversary one, which is still, I will put that pay-per-view up against any fucking wrestling show that has ever done any fucking wrestling on a show ever. That was the best fucking wrestling show I've ever seen. And it was so cool to be a part of. But I'm literally like figuring out, like I'm trying to ask like people, like I asked like Josh Matthews, and his advice for me was literally, he's like, I've got no advice for you. That's the advice. And I was just like, I oddly understand, but that doesn't help. Thanks. And then next thing I know, we're about like 15 minutes away, and I'm just like, and thankfully Chris Levin is the fucking greatest dude in the fucking world, and I will love him to the day I die, because he realized how new I was, and he realized that, and this is something that I didn't know until after the fact, but like this was like his first major pay-per-view where he was going to be in the main event. So he needed me to know what the fuck I was doing, so then that way he could succeed. So like he's trying to give me a crash course, and like finally everything is making sense, and I'm just like, okay, I think I got it. And then next thing I know, like some old man comes and puts his hand on my shoulder, and he's just like, hey, young man, what's your name? And I'm like, Ben. He's like, all right, Ben, my name's Keith Mitchell, and blah, 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 blah. And he just starts telling me this stuff, and I'm registering what he's saying, but at the same time, I'm like, Keith Mitchell? I'm like, wait a sec. Keith Mitchell, like the guy that like they would throw to in the truck for like, go back to the truck and Keith Mitchell in like an old WCW, and he just starts laughing. He's like, oh, that's all bullshit, man. That's all bullshit. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. I'm going to be in your ear. I'm going to talk you through this whole damn thing, and we're going to kick some fucking ass tonight. You ready to do that with me? And I like instantly I felt like ready to go to fucking war for this man. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, Keith, let's fucking do this. And then like I was, and it just it went so well that first night that I got to work like so many other tapings throughout the course of the year, and then I got invited back to do like more extra work again throughout like the course of the year, and I just had this year where I did all of these things, and then I'm like looking back at it at the very next year where I realized, I'm like, man, a year prior to this I was literally sitting in my fucking same spot bawling my eyes out, and then here I am a year later, and I'm like sitting with these like T4s or whatever it was, like or paychecks that I was looking
Yes.
at in my hand, and I'm just like, I fucking did it. Like,
And that's the difference. I didn't mean to cut you off,
no.
that switch and that mindset, you know what I mean? Like you took upon Rhino's sage advice, and sometimes when you get given those little nuggets of wisdom, it doesn't sink in right away. That's not to say that, oh, what dumbass, why didn't it's sometimes, people process things differently. You know what I mean? It takes me time to learn and then, process things. But like once you finally truly understand and embark upon that secret, the doors open up, man. And to go back, like what Rhino was saying about like, oh, don't be that fucking guy that like posts, like we've seen those brothers, the brothers and the sisters that like, if they're used for security bit that night, they are posting all about it from different angles. They are
The show's not even over, and I've seen people do this.
Same thing. Yes, exactly. They are checking into the city where Raw, SmackDown, whatever pay-per-view is going on. And like, no, like WWE doesn't hire marks. WWE hires professionals, So, and I'm sure you've noticed with my social media, like I don't post anytime I'm used as an extra. I don't post, if I've done everything, I will acknowledge it about if somebody shoots a mention on Twitter, I'll like it, but I'm not gonna throw up a picture about it,
Well, you don't have to for two reasons. Because one, everybody does it for you, just because as we mentioned before, like it's kind of like Boone's on fucking Raw tonight. Yeah, there he is. Boom. Hi, Boone's on Raw. And then second of all, you've kind of become like the 2000s version of El Tornado to me, like where I kind of feel like you're just like, part of me almost wonders, I'm just like, are you like a full-time extra? like do they did they give you a different contract than other people? Like, do people genuinely wonder when you're there? They're just like, oh, okay, yeah, he's with us, right? Like,
I've gotten that before, and even that's the joke that like Gregory Iron has made, that like I have a 10-year extra contract, with them, but like
you're probably one of the few guys that gets paid extras for being an extra than the rest of the extras. Like, you get the been there, done that pay bump.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that, but like, but regardless, like, it means a lot anytime that I get those emails or, like any sort of notification to come work there. Like, I'd like to think that they know and trust that I'm going to do a good job there, and I am there for the benefit of the company. I'm not there to mark out. Because again, if you're there ready to work, because again, those days are long. Any days at TV, you're there at noon or 1 o'clock, and you're leaving at 10, 11 at night, so you're putting in a full day's work.
Sometimes a lot later.
And sometimes a lot later, and you have to be ready. There are days when you're told, okay, I don't think that there's going to be anything, matches or anything on TV, so just, hang out and catering or whatever, and then 5 minutes, oh, we need these guys for a backstage that we got to go live for. You, come with me. Cool, let's do it. Anytime you're asked, the answer is always yes. So, and this personally, and like, and what you were talking about, with Keith Mitchell helping you out with Slammiversary and everything, like anytime, and this goes to like podcasts of journalists talking about how companies will run things just to deliberately sabotage it. And I get mad whenever I hear that, because any company that does think, why would a company run something in order for it to fail? It doesn't make sense. Why would you be put in a position to time when you've never timed before in order for you to fail? That's stupid. You were put in that position. You were put in that position because you were trusted. Me might have been the only person there, but you were trusted to do that, and people were willing to help you. So
yes, Chris kind of debated me about this when we were on the podcast together, and he kind of said the same thing. He was just like, it's not a shot at you. He's just like, but why would the company put their trust in somebody that quickly and not have that figured out previous to that? And then the other and I could certainly understand that point, and I can understand that philosophy. Like, I get that. But then the other part of me, realizes the benefit of that happening, because Scott trusted me for whatever reason. I don't know why, but thank you very much, Scott, for doing so. I will be forever grateful for you for doing that. I genuinely mean that. But he trusted me for some reason, because, you know, I'd been kind of learning under him for a while. Like, I'd been going to a lot of like the Destiny shows, and that's kind of why I got invited back to go and do a lot of that stuff. Cause I remember when I went to the one Destiny show, George Iceman always kind of saw me as a backstage producer guy for some reason before I did. So in a weird way, I got to give George a lot of credit for this, because when I got to his show, like, he's like, yo, pay attention to Scott. I just want you to follow Scott around. I want you to do this. I know that you run your own shows. I just want you to see how it's done from like a professional perspective. And I knew that wasn't him being an asshole, being like, oh, well, we're better than you. Like, that was him being genuine. Like, that's fucking Scott D'Amore. Like, he knows what he's doing, right? Yeah. So I took that opportunity and ran with it. And like, I literally was like behind him the whole night. I learned a lot of amazing things that night. I also learned maybe one bad quality that he actually, and it's funny because I did this exact same thing on one of my shows, on my first anniversary show, and he was there for it. And he pulled me aside afterwards, and he's just like, don't you ever do that in front of your team. And I'm like, and I didn't have the heart to tell him, I'm very sorry, but I learned that from you. But this is like the first show that I'm ever behind him. And he's got his headset in, and he's fucking trying to get the show ready. And he's just like, all right. And we cue to the video wall. All right. Now cue to the music. Cue to the music. Where's the fucking music? That quick.
Yeah.
So, but now I understand, because TV time it's precious, right? Like, you got to get your shit fucking going. But yeah, so in the weirdest way, like I watched him do this, like, and then once, Keith, I realized that like he set me up with people who were not going to let me fail. And he knew that, like, in a weird way, I think that was kind of like the best way for me to learn. Because I think if someone would have sat down and taught me and said, hey, try this at this show, and then try to apply that and boom, and see how it goes, I think I would have fucked up more. But, you know, I had to be forced to learn how to do it correctly, or else I could have cost the company like hundreds of thousands of dollars by going too long off on a pay-per-view.
And you do not want to be in that position at all. So you had to succeed because you had no other choice. So that trial under fire. Exactly.
And we were within like a 30-second or less. I can't remember exactly what the time was. I've got the time written down somewhere, but like the main event went long, and that was the Austin Aries and Moose. And me and Chris Levin were like dude, the feeling in my gut just came back thinking about it. It was like the most frustrating, stressful couple of seconds of my life. And then once we got off air and we realized that we nailed literally nailed the time. I stood up and I had to refrain myself from literally flipping the fucking table over, because I was that jazzed. Like, I was just like, oh my God, like I just hit a fucking home run on night one. Holy shit. Like, it was to the point where like, Austin Aries was like furious because like we were rushing him, and I'm like, dude, like this is a team app. Like, yeah, I get it. There was a match that went a little longer, but like, I'm like, I didn't want to.
It's not about you. It's about the company. It's about the pay-per-view. You know?
Yes. So, but like, I can understand that like he's an artist and he wanted his time to tell his art, and he was promised this amount of time to tell his art, and he didn't get that. But like, so he was pissed the whole time. But then once he got back, like I wasn't sure whether or not like we were gonna high five or fucking fight one another. Like, I honestly didn't know. But then I could see it. He could see it in my face, how stoked I was. I could see it in his face when he realized that like we got off the air at the same time. And like it was like the weirdest thing. And for no reason, we beelined it towards one another as he's coming down the stairs, and we meet, and we just fucking high-fived him like, man. And I'm just like, we did it. And then I'm just like, okay, that was weird. I didn't expect that. But then again, to the flip side, that I'm like, oh, I'm good. Like, so TVs the next few days, I'm like, oh, dude, we're not even live. Okay, fucking sweet. Like, I can so much less pressure. So, and that's the thing that I'll debate is like, I got thrown in the line of fire so deep and like so quickly that when that happened, I had no other way but to learn the right way. And that became the way for me, you know?
And I think you brought up a good point too. If you're over prepped, I think that you be complacent and you'll fuck up more. But I mean, you have
because
to
you'll have
that
expectations.
Exactly. You have to have that fire underneath your ass. That's the best way to learn. You know what I mean? Because I mean, you're laser focused at that point. So absolutely. So that's why like if people ask about extra work, and all that, like I'll give them like what to do and everything. I'll tell them like, hey, like I know you'll be nervous, but try not to be too nervous. Think of it, you're going to a show. It's just another show, just a lot more money and production behind it, just take it in. Take it in and learn, because they have the best of the best there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can take what you can apply at those shows and hone your craft and help out other places that way too. So, I mean, but then again, that falls on deaf ears with some, brothers and sisters, that are there. So
it certainly does. I remember watching one, like, dude, I remember, so like I asked quite a few people just about like the do's and don'ts before I went down there for the first time. You were the only guy who everything that you said as far as do's and don'ts was fucking bang, 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 bang. That's why like I was keeping in touch with you like as everything was going on. And I was just like, I think I'm doing this right. And you're like, so you were like, you certainly became like my security blanket and like my go-to guy for all this stuff. So thank you very much for that.
I appreciate it. My pleasure.
But the crazy thing is like I was trying to help somebody else out and trying to give them sort of similar advice. And then I'm also trying to give them a little bit more advice that I kind of learned firsthand. Like, enjoy catering, but not too much.
Yes. Yeah, don't be the guy. And I've seen it happen where you're bringing 3-4 plates of food at the table and you're just going to town. Don't be that guy. But
it's almost weird because I feel like they encourage you to do that, but then it dawned on me after the fact that there's always somebody important in that room.
Yes.
Always. Do you think that they're just going to look at the random guy who's in this town and see this dude with like a fucking pile of potatoes or, the amazing dessert trays that they always have? Like it's almost that dessert tray is fucking bullshit, by the way, because it's like the biggest table there and it's the biggest one that you should never go around. Because again, if someone important there trying to find like, okay, I need an athlete, I need someone to go because this is professional wrestling and we are on national television in front of millions of people and we are the fucking WWE. So who am I going to pick? I'm going to pick that guy that's eating like an athlete when there's all of this good stuff kicking around and he's not eating it. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but
then again, like TVs, like afterwards, the guys, that's their cheat meal. You know what I mean? They'll hit up the dessert table and there's so many production people. I mean, they're not going to eat the steamed rice and chicken and green beans, I mean, they'll eat, the cheesecakes and cereal and all that good stuff. So
that's what I realized. A lot of that stuff is for like the not wrestlers, because there's a lot of people there that are not wrestlers, like with the production crew, the writers, the everything staff, because they've got fucking everybody to do everything there. It is insane. But
and that was the rumor for the longest time. It's like, oh, like they set that dessert table just to watch you and monitor you, and it's like, okay, no, that's dumb. There's more important things going on at TV at pay-per-views than, let's see how many extras raid the dessert table. Come on, give me a break.
I will say though, just be careful because
sure.
One of the best pieces of advice that I was given is that there's a gun to your head every day in the business, and it's up to you to not put any bullets in it. Unfortunately, I'm not good at that. But they always say that the most honest guy in the room is usually the most hated guy in the room, and I'd rather continue to be me, and if people hate me for that, then it is what it is. And if people think that I'm an asshole because I don't like certain people because they can wrestle really good, but they're actually a piece of shit human beings, then fucking hate me. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now it's funny because I feel like this is going definitely the same way as the last episode with Psycho Mike, where like I'm just kind of scrapping for the majority of the format here. But but I'm kind of curious, like, do you even remember or know how many times you've actually done extra work at this point? Like, can
I've
you
lost count a long time ago.
if you had to take a guess, like how many? Because again, I'm not fucking kidding you. Like it was a drinking game at one point. There was one time, and I don't know if I've ever told you this story, but there was one time where I think I was talking to Brady or something like that, but like it was we were just shooting the shit, and I was just like, oh, there's a WWE pay-per-view on or whatever. I'm just gonna turn on, and I'm like, watch. I'm like, I don't even know where they are, but I bet you Boone will be on. I'm just gonna guess that if I watch this tonight, I guarantee you Boone will be on.
So if I had to put a number on it, like
so hang on. I went.
Yeah.
Boop,
Sorry.
turned it on. It wasn't even 5 minutes go by that I see you sitting eating Kentucky Fried Chicken for some fucking reason ringside. And I was just like, as soon as I see that there's a KFC table, I laughed and I'm like, I don't know where they are, but I bet you Boone's there. Watch. And I'm saying this joking.
Yeah.
And then they pan to the table and then there's Boone. Bro, like the chair that I'm on, I literally fell backwards, popped, and was crying laughing.
And I would say that KFC bit, so it was a sponsored bit, that probably got me the most attention online and in the back, because there's a reason why KFC had that spot, and they picked, like myself and like 3 other people for it, but the direction that we were told was like, hey, you're encouraged to eat anytime the camera's on you. That means you eat it. So anytime the camera's on me, using my peripherals, you damn right I took a chomp out of that chicken. That's
well. One thing I also noticed with them too, and like I hope I'm not giving too much away here, but the one thing that I noticed when I was doing the doctor stuff with Kofi is that when they pan to you, dude holding the camera tells you, we're coming to you in 3, 2, boom. And so he kind of like preps you to like make sure that you're on your game. Like, I don't know if they did that with you or whatever, but I always like was like, this is the dopest shit ever. Because at one point in time, thank God that he told me, because at one point we're just trying to kill time because it was like a 7-minute segment. So me and Kofi are literally in tears joking about how awesome his gear is, while he's trying to sell this fucking deathly beating from the Bludgeon Brothers or whatever.
Yeah.
Fucking hilarious.
Absolutely. And that's like anytime that you're out there, even if the camera's on you, you got to be on your game, because you know how quickly those cameras change. Like you count, like it's every 3 to 5 seconds that they'll do cutaway shots. It's quick, it's fast, and they don't want to catch you, if you're just out there like not selling whatever it is that needs to be sold. That's game time, that's work time. So and then when it's all done, cool, you can relax. But yeah, exactly. So that's why, like, even if the cameras weren't on and everything, like I'm eating. I was eating the KFC, and I was eating the coleslaw and the potatoes and whatever they had, So, oh man, and plus I'm paid to eat KFC, so you damn right. I'm relishing the opportunity.
That's a pretty. I mean, I'm not a huge KFC guy, but if you were into KFC, sure, I would imagine that's probably a pretty sweet gig.
Absolutely.
Especially to just do that on TV. Now, the one thing that I've always found kind of criminal, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like of all these times that you've been an extra, you never actually had a match yet, have you?
Never.
Fucking hell. Now, I'm only asking this because I know how much it hurt me. Like, does that get to you? Like when you leave and you're just like, son of a bitch. Like,
I guess I think of it this way, is that like, if people that are picked for matches, there are reasons why they're picked for the match, like they fit that dimension. And certainly there probably could have been a couple times where I was picked, but like, I'm 6'2". I hover between 225 and 230 pounds, 230 pounds. So like, I'm a bigger guy, so like, if I were to be used in a match, I mean, it would have to be somebody like the size of a Kane or somebody like that can tower over me. You know what I mean? So, I mean, a 205 match, probably not going to be on there. You know what I mean? So, but that's okay. There are other things besides the match on the TV that you can get picked for and you can get over. So that's how I approach it. So, and if I accomplish my job, then it's a good night at work.
Part of me almost feels like when things, if they do eventually end up going back to normal, and they start traveling again and doing all that stuff, like, I feel like you're almost owed that James Ellsworth moment. It's just like, motherfucker, you've been there so many times. Like, they got to give you something where they fucking put you over and give you a run for like 3 months and then send you on your merry way, or whatever the fuck they do with those guys.
Oh, well, thank you for that. I mean, I still feel like, though, every time I'm there, I still have to prove why I keep coming back and why, like they think I'm good enough to be there. But I can't rest on my laurels. I can't be that guy that's okay with wearing the hot dog hat one time and, call it a career. You know what I mean? So each time I'm there, I think of it as a first-time internship, as an interview, basically, to be there. So I got to be on my game each time I'm there. So that's
so many times.
Sometimes it takes that many times, you never know. So
one question I have for you is just because, like, I had one of these moments myself. You ever been doing something while you're like, because I know that you've done a lot of stuff where you're like, you have to go out to the audience to do your extra work. Have you ever just looked into the crowd somewhere and just been like, holy fuck, that's so-and-so. And then you just kind of get like, it kind of takes you a second to pull yourself back, because you're just like, you got to get used to like seeing all the guys in the back and like all these people that you grew up watching and stuff like that. But the next thing you know, like, you ever been out there where all of a sudden you're just like, wait a sec. Because I'll tell you my experience. I looked over while I was doing the fucking, not Adam Rose, No Way Jose thing.
Yes.
And while the match was going on, I looked to my right, and there's Harley from the fucking Epic Mealtime walking to his seat. I was just like, that's fucking sweet.
Now, like nobody of like, like that celebrity and fame and stature. Like, I've recognized like people that I'm friendly with in the crowd, and like, I'll give that quarter second to make eye contact, but then I'm back to work, So, but like each time I'm there, it's like, those arenas, you look out, it's like, damn, this is a big crowd. Oh, fuck, got to do this. So
yeah.
I can't waver on that thought too long. So
I don't know how it was for you, but like, I remember that first time that they sent me out the curtain, because I've been out the curtain twice, and the first time they sent me out, like, I just remember, like, it almost felt like when you go out that little cubicle thing or whatever the fuck that thing is,
box,
that little trailer box, and as soon as you step foot, it genuinely feels like you have stepped into a dream. There's no other way to explain it. But you just like, there's like this weird, like, everything hits you at once. Cause like, when you're in the stands, it's weird because you're like, this looks a lot bigger on TV, but it's maybe not that big. It's really not that big. And the next thing you know, you're running down the aisle, and then you look and you're like, this is fucking huge.
Yeah.
How the hell did everything get bigger? Like, it didn't make any sense to me. And then as you're like jaunting down the stage, you're just like, oh my God, please don't trip. Please don't trip. Please don't trip. Please don't trip. And it was like this really awkward, really weird experience. And like I was telling you, like, the reason why, like, I was so glad I had that moment with Kofi was because it took me completely out of being nervous, because I didn't know what to say to him. I'm trying to be a doctor, and I'm just like, dude, I don't know what to say, but you got really dope fucking gear. That's like really detailed. And then he like turns in, and then like, that was like and then he calmed me down, but then the next time it was weird. It's kind of just like anything else. Like you get back on, and like, I couldn't have been more ready. Like, I felt like I was just like, okay, this is fucking, I'm ready to go. Like, that happened for you too?
Yeah. Like, and like there's plenty of people there that'll help calm me down, like Kofi did. Like, I'll give you this example. So last year, I was privileged enough to be brought for WrestleMania in Jersey.
Yeah.
To be part of Batista's final match for his entrance with all the, you know, the security guards there, you know, the Secret Service. You know, and doing the run-throughs, that's where I took in the experience of, you know, the arenas that they have Raw and SmackDown. Those are huge, but this is another level. So I in between waiting for our rehearsals and everything, just taking in, like, this is WrestleMania. This is a huge stadium. Holy fuck. Holy shit. And Batista in between us waiting, you know, said hello to all of us. And he took time to say, like, hey guys, like, I appreciate you being here. And just remember this, CM Punk got his start doing this exact same thing. So you never know where it will lead. So
what a good brother to say that. That's fucking sweet.
Such a cool thing to say. I mean, and Batista was just awesome, you know, to help calm us down. Because not only, I mean, you have those nerves, certainly if you're at a Raw, SmackDown, or like a pay-per-view, but WrestleMania, that's the top of the line.
Well, this is what I learned. This is what I learned with Chris, is that, like, Batista needed you all to be on your game because you're on his team. Like, if y'all look like shit, he looks like shit, you know? So, like, what a great guy, and smart of him to catch on to that. Because if I remember correctly, there was quite a lot of you guys that were dressed to do that stuff.
There were like a couple dozen gentlemen for that spot. And, like, so when it came go time, you know what I mean? Like, hanging off the Escalade and getting in position, you know, for Batista to make his way down the ring. And then we get to the back and everything. And I don't think it was until we left the building that I was like, holy shit. We were at WrestleMania. Like that.
You can literally go buy the WrestleMania DVD and go and watch you.
Right. You know, it's just like that. Like, you know, like I got those nerves and like the human element out of it. It's like, all right, time to go. And then once that wears off, it's like, wow. that's when you have time to reflect and just take in what just happened.
Dude, when I found out that you did that, I was so fucking happy for you, because I was just like, what an amazing opportunity. Like, because that's fucking cool. Because, like, normally you would think that they would call up, like, NXT guys or something like that to do those kind of spots. At least that's what I thought anyway, because a little caveat to that story is I actually tried to get booked for WrestleMania as an extra, and I was told specifically that they were not bringing any extras in.
Interesting.
Yeah, I could actually I could forward you and show you that email, which is which was like, it was weird, like, because like as soon as I found out that you did, I was just like, oh, the motherfuckers lied to me. But then I was just like, fucking right, Boone, go get him, bro. Because I can only imagine what catering's like at WrestleMania, for fuck's sakes.
You know, I will say, without giving it too much away, the catering setup, at least for Mania that year, probably could fit like a small independent wrestling show in there. So
that sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
I still to this day, there's two things that I will just like randomly be going about my day, and then I'll just think about the steak that I had. There was one steak that I had in there that I was just like, I don't like, why are they letting me? This is probably $100 steak. Like, why are they letting me eat this? Like, and that was kind of my running joke, because like when I got mail from them, like my check and like my fucking whatever the thing is at the end of the year, I was just like,
the tax, yeah.
I'm like, this is just a catering bill. Like, they're eventually gonna figure out that like I ate a lot of food, and they're just gonna fucking bill me for it. And then there was this one. Christ, it was like a Alfredo chicken thing that Filipino girl made, and it was literally the best meal I've ever had in my life, and I still to this day just like
there's this cheese ravioli that I had the first time I was booked in my hometown of Toledo. That is the best ravioli I've ever had, and I'll dream about it every so often, just like you do with that steak.
It's
oh god,
it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's oh my God, it was just you understand why those guys work so hard to get there, and why they're happy to get to the main roster, and why some guys, like, you know, I'm not going to name names, but like some people would be happy to show up to TV sometimes and be cool not doing anything. And part of me thinks that catering is like 60% of that reason.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but those that do, you know, claw and fight their way and eventually become part of the main roster. It's like, again, that's top of the line, you know, production and television, catering, everything. You know what I mean?
But the thing is too, is a lot of people don't understand how much, like how long those days are and how much work goes into those days. So you gotta, like, they're smart to invest that much money into like making sure that everybody is fed properly and that everybody's like super happy and that they can walk away feeling that they, you know, because it's if anything, it kind of adds a bit of prestige to it, like in this weird way, because you're just like, you're not going to eat like that good anywhere else, like, for fuck's sakes.
Right. Exactly, man. You know, so I mean,
nor will you get paid to eat that good anywhere else.
Right. Exactly. You know, so anytime you're there, man, just enjoy it, but don't bring the 4 or 5 plate loads filled, piled high. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Pick and choose. But
exactly.
Yeah.
So, not to wrap up the extra talk, but I do just there's a couple things that I just want to ask you real quick, and then I'm going to hit you with the rapid fire questions, just because I still like doing those. They're a lot of fun. But there's one thing that I'm really curious about just with everybody right now, is just because you're one of the guys like me who was once a much larger human being, and you have gotten yourself into really good shape. Like, you've leaned out a lot. You've lost an incredible amount of weight. Obviously during with COVID and all that stuff, like it's been difficult for people to maintain and to get into better shape, but you have. So, like, what have you been up to for like your training, and what have you been doing as far as like your diet goes through all of this stuff?
So right when lockdowns happened, where gyms, everything was shut down, my buddy Kenny Urban, who's a young up and comer from the Skull and Bones School in Toledo, he had like a small gym set up in his garage, which I lovingly nicknamed the dungeon. So I went over there to do my reps and incorporate more HIIT cardio. And then as far as like diet and everything's concerned, I've been taking more of like a low carb approach to things. Like now, like on a day like today, I train legs just so I could look good for this for this podcast, you know. But,
which we don't show your legs, which I appreciate.
You know, exactly.
It is the thought that counts.
Exactly, but I mean, you have to up your carbs for legs, things like that. I'm at the point now where like I don't feel as bad, you know. If like during the week I want ice cream, I'll be reasonable about it. You know, I'm not going to get a whole big tub of, you know, Ben and Jerry's or, you know, Breyers and eat the whole thing. But I mean, I'll be sensible about it. But I'll know that's going to be fuel for me to work harder, you know, to do my favorite cardio. And it scares away people is the Stairmaster. I'll do a half hour on it. You know, and at one time I was able to like up the level so I can get to like 200 levels, like, or 200 floors rather, in a half hour. I don't do that anymore just because it tears up your knees so bad.
Yeah.
So I keep it at like a medium level, maybe at 12 at the highest, and just keep a good consistent pace. And that's a good way for me to, you know, watch random videos on YouTube or watch, you know, matches to study up. And then as far as what I eat, you know, I do a lot of eggs. Lately I've been doing a lot of lean beef. So I've been on that kick. But I have some chicken that I will be cooking it when we're done here. Like rice, oatmeal. I do a shit ton of veggies. Like I buy bags upon bags of spinach. I don't really make salads with them. I take handfuls and I eat it. Yep. As disgusting as that sounds, I do that. So
now I watched, it's funny. The other day I was so bored that I watched Puff. He went on his Instagram live and I literally just, for no goddamn reason, watched him devour an entire rotisserie chicken and a bag of spinach just like they were chips. And I watched. I don't know why. I felt like the fucking biggest weirdo. I'm like, I don't know why I'm sticking around, but I'm get him, Puff.
Exactly.
And then the next day he was on AEW, so good for him.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. But yeah, bags of spinach. I incorporate daily greens every day. I like to mix it with my protein shake. I don't know how you are with that.
I don't like to
aminos,
mix. I don't like to mix greens with my shake. I like because the thing is I usually only eat like if I'm good and I'm solid with my diet. I eat 3 kind of like meals a day. Technically, it's really only 2 meals, but it's like, so I have like a nice, good, hearty protein shake in the morning where I'll take like my 2 scoops of protein. I'll take a banana, but then I'll take like a very healthy portioned scoop of all natural crunchy peanut butter. And then I'll just put ice cubes and water, blend it together. And then that's my drink. And then ideally, which I'm super lucky now, just because before this was really, really time consuming for me. And luckily I've been provided an opportunity to become an ambassador for this company called Macro Foods, and they're a meal prep service. They're based out of Windsor at the moment, but they're opening up stores in London, which I believe in the next like couple of weeks. They're opening up a store here in Waterloo. They're opening up another store in Mississauga, like in the coming weeks or a couple of months, I believe as well. But they're expanding, and I've tried other meal service programs before, and their food was just like hot garbage, and the vegetables were just like, it was like those bags of like shitty mixed vegetables where like the carrots are like those little tiny cubes, and it's like, that's not what a carrot is. That doesn't even make any sense. But like I tried this program out just to see what it was and just to see if it was any good, and like it's literally one of the best like and most delicious like meals I've had ever. And like I mean that when I say that. They're amazing. And the fact that like they are just like, it's the same thing, you know what I mean? It's like so I'm on a kick on that right now. So luckily my diet is going to be super, super easy because of this meal prep service. And if anybody is interested, and yeah, I'm using this as an opportunity to plug my shit. www.macrofoods.ca. And if you, whatever you order other than packages, if you want to put some meal plans together, use the code BIGBEN15 and get yourself 15% off. I don't make any money from it or anything. I just genuinely think it's amazing. And I want to see you people eat better and eat cleaner and stuff like that. But to get back to what you were saying, I try to eat beef and like vegetables and like a little bit of carbs, like for my second meal, and then chicken and vegetables for like my last meal. And then like, ideally, again, if I'm like really hard on the diet, like I'll take like a Granny Smith apple, and then I'll just chop it into little pieces or whatever. And then I'll dunk it into all natural peanut butter as a snack before bed.
Yeah. So yeah, like in the morning, I'll do like a shake, or if it's like a day where I'm training heavy, like a back or leg, that's when I'll do 6 eggs, 2 of them whole, bunch of Taco Bell fire sauce on it that you can buy from the store, or the packets that you raid from Taco Bell. And then I'll do like a half cup of oatmeal with some peanut butter and cinnamon in it. Now, if it's not like a day where I'm doing shoulders or arms, things like, then I'll do the protein shake. So I'll do unsweetened almond milk, the protein powder. I freeze bananas, so I'll throw in a frozen banana. I freeze spinach and kale. I'll throw that in with daily greens. So it gives it like, I like that really thick shake consistency, not like the thin stuff. Yeah. So the more frozen stuff I throw in, that's the more I'll get like that thicker, creamy goodness that I like.
Yeah, because it feels like a hearty meal, like when you're drinking it, and it just you want to feel full, even because you're using it as a meal replacement. So you just want to make it. You want to trick your brain almost,
Yeah, exactly. And then like towards the end of the night, that's like I'll try to wean off my carbs there, but like I'll find like low carb versions of the things I love. I love Taco Bell, so I'll make my own low carb versions of like quesadillas with like those like high fiber wraps. I don't know if they have them in Canada, but it's called like Extreme Wellness. So like I'll do like that as an example, stuff like that. But I'll replace my carbs with fats. So I'll up my fats to balance that out. And then at night I have like a casein shake. And please don't hurt me on the flavor of this. It's cinnamon toast crunch flavored casein shake. Oh brother. Oh.
Why would I hurt you? That sounds. Oh my God, that sounds great.
Yep.
Is it made by that Ghost company that makes every other delicious thing ever?
No, it's actually a GNC brand, GNC Amp. Ooh. So it's not like cinnamon toast crunch, but that's what it is. Yeah. Yeah, because they have like that. They have like a Reese's Puff version and like Cocoa Puffs, and I think Fruity Pebbles. I do believe. Yep. When the borders open up, man. When the borders open up, you're gonna be raiding those.
Dude, I'm telling you straight up that like when the borders open up, I'll probably end up seeing you because like I'm straight up. I'm driving straight down to fucking Fulton's place and crashing on his couch for a weekend, just to hang out for first of all, and then second, so that way I can like spend some time and actually do things right. Like I want to go like to the Targets and Walmarts and go like toy hunting and like go like to the real good places and fucking find some good coffee creamers that I can bring home so I can just be a gluttonous fat shit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's the way God intended.
That's why we raised I specifically put this America flag up in the background for this episode because God bless America and your coffee creamers and fat kid food goodness.
And it's cheap.
Yeah. God damn it. Oh, I miss America so much. All right, Boone, we're gonna hit the rapid fire questions here. So this is one of those deals where if you want to take some time and explain your question, you can. But keep in mind, just whatever hits you first, and then just whatever comes off the top of your head. All right. So,
you got it.
What's your favorite match that you've been a part of so far?
Favorite match I've been a part of. Just for the sake of time, I'll give you one. Me and Scott Steiner, Newfoundland, Legend City Wrestling about 8 years ago. And very quickly, I'm a huge Big Papa Pump mark. One of my favorites watching in high school growing up. And for the chance to work with them not once but twice and to impress Big Papa Pump and Roddy Piper on that tour, I hold those matches in high regard.
That's amazing. Especially because Piper is like I'm a Piper guy, dude. So that's really cool. Who is not on TV right now, other than yourself, who should be on TV?
God, so many. You know what? I'll say Lee Moriarty. Mm-hmm. He's killing it right now on the Indies. I think that he's not on TV now, but he will be.
Yeah, it's a matter of time. That's not even if. It's just it's when, right?
Yes.
Who's your favorite band, or what's your favorite band? And I know some people are like, oh, well, could it be? What's your favorite musical artist? Maybe I need to reword that.
Tool.
That's badass. Favorite sports team?
I'm not a big sports person, but I will say locally, Toledo Walleyes, I'm a hockey guy. I love hockey. So seeing local hockey, oh, dude, you see a side of Ben Boone that you won't see. So bring me up to a Red Wings game. I will bust that out too.
But no, local hockey's the best. Like I used to work at the John Labatt Center in London when it was called that. Now it's called Budweiser Gardens, but they have the London Knights there. And I used to literally work as an usher every single game. And it was the best job in the world to just stand there and get paid to watch hockey and it was great, man. I didn't get to drink. That was the only shitty thing, but maybe it was probably for the best, you know? I would have became a raging alcoholic. Who's your favorite opponent thus far that you've worked with?
Again, so many to choose from. I will say my original trainer, Johnny Gargano. He's even at the time that I was working with him at Prime Wrestling, PWO, he was on another level of where his timing, positioning, how crisp he was. He was just so good. That's who I would say. And I'm so happy that he is the face of NXT right now.
He's special. Like I can't, there's really no other way to explain it. Like, I mean, you can, there's a million ways to explain him, but I mean, I think special is the best one. Just cause everything about that guy is just you don't understand. It's not a knock, but this small petite man just reeks of stardom. It's the most insane, but good on him, man. He's a good dude, you know?
Yes.
And that's big. That's big thing for me personally is, we've said this on the podcast quite a bit, but like there's like everybody out there as far as like becoming a wrestler goes, like for the most part, especially these days, is good. Like, you know, like wrestling, the product in the ring has gotten a lot better. I'm a lot more of a fan of the human being these days than I am the performer, you know? And
Yes.
if the human being is good and the performer is good, then that's just like, that's even cooler, you know, because then it's fun to watch your buddies succeed. But like, I don't care how good of a wrestler you are. If you're a piece of shit, you're a piece of shit. And that's just how I feel. Doesn't mean that's how everybody has to feel. You know what I mean? But I forget where I was going with that, but you know, anyway, what's the biggest goal that you've set for yourself that you've accomplished?
So far, the biggest goal that I've placed was to be at WrestleMania. Now, I've done it. Now, I got to keep coming back. However it may be. So whether it's on screen, whether it's working behind the scenes, that will not be my only WrestleMania. That's the goal, and that's where I'm at.
Good for you, because you just answered two questions, because the next question was literally, what's the next goal on your list that you need to accomplish? And that would be that. So you said that working backstage, like, has that actually become a thought for you at all? Like,
it has, and it's really attracted me. You know, so and
now,
I think
out of curiosity, which part do you find attractive? Because there's a lot of moving pieces backstage. You know, I've come to find that that's a pretty general statement at these days.
Good question, and I feel it's the talent relation side of working with talent, you know, helping them out with things, diffusing problems. I feel, you know, pretty comfortable in that role, you know, leading people, you know, to get to where they need to be. Whether, you know, if it's in the back, helping other extras, you know, like, all right, let's get us prepared for this. We got to go here and do that. I feel comfortable doing that, and that I would be able to expand upon down the road.
I think you'd be a good spot for that.
Thank you.
Because I know that the people that are in charge of the extras are also doing 100 other things throughout the course of the day. It might not be a bad idea for them, especially for the amount of people that they were bringing in, to maybe have somebody kind of designed to do all that stuff. It's you know, it's they have coaches for everything else. Why not have a coach for these people that are just trying to learn? You know, that's actually not a bad idea, and that's not a bad pitch. I would consider that. And if you need me to cut that from this podcast, so then that way nobody else gets that idea, I will happily do that for you.
Cut that part out.
We can keep it in.
Take our fucking ideas, you sons of bitches.
Fuck yeah!
Let Boone get that job.
You heard what I said?
All right. Who are the first, like, I usually say 5, but like, just name some upcoming talent that come to your head that you feel like people should watch out for that maybe they don't know about yet, like the real up and comers. Like I'm going to use Dickie Watts, for example, just because I fucking love that kid, and I know that he's been working real hard with you guys down at Skull and Bones. So kids like him.
Yes. You know, well, I will put him number 1, Dickie Watts. You know, somebody that's really come a long way. You know, getting himself out of just doing shows in Michigan, and he's gone to Crossbody, you know, and he's making waves, and he's making improvements each and every time that I see him.
Dude, he main evented a show
Jason
with
Page,
me.
Eli Shelton.
He main event. Sorry to cut you off, but he main evented one of my shows against fucking Speedball.
Hell yeah!
And he killed it.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised, you know, of him killing it, and that's a pretty tall order for him to do that. So, and delivered. So,
yeah.
Hell yeah. So big facts. So they're Jason Page, Eli Shelton, you know, from the area. You know, they're really tight with Trey Miguel, and Trey Miguel's, you know, helping them get out there, getting their names out there too. Sam Beal is another person who
I've seen that name pop up quite a bit lately, actually.
Yes. You know, somebody that's, you know, he was training at a place and maybe not shown the right things or the right way to do things, but taking that step to sign up with Skull and Bones, hanging out Trey and CK and those guys, and getting himself in phenomenal shape and growing a fantastic mullet too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, and I will say Billy Starks. She's a female wrestler from Kentucky. She's now she's not 18 yet, but I mean, she's already been wrestling for a couple years. So that
I still don't know. I still don't know if he's fucking with me or not, but like Nolan Edwards said that that's his sister. And Nolan Edwards is I love that kid. Like he's like one of my own, for crying out loud. Do you know Nolan?
Yeah.
So
I love Nolan too. I've never heard that. So interesting.
I don't know if he meant that as like that's like his like blood sister, or if that's just like who he considers like one of his best friends. But like I remember that he had a match with her. I believe it was right before COVID was going on. That was like really important to him, and it was something that him and I were talking about because he was just like, yeah, it's a brother versus sister match. And I was just like, oh, fucking, I didn't even know you had a sister. But like, you know, it's that kid. I can't wait to get him on here, and there's a reason I've been waiting to get him on here. But I'm sure that we'll go over that when I talk to him. But
Sure.
He is one of the most fascinating fucking human beings I have ever met in my life. And I don't know if there is more raw talent, potential, and like the proper amount of creativeness and psychopath all put into one like little package. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I fucking love that kid, man.
And I feel bad in leaving him out too, because there's just so many people out there.
So many
There's so many. Nolan. I think he already has a fascinating story. So when it comes time for more people to know who he is, that story will be told, and it's going to open some eyes. I truly do believe that.
When people understand how do I word this? When people understand the struggles that this man has had to overcome, it is it's one of those stories that like if you hear about it, and like if you were to watch like a documentary on like his life and how he has gotten to where he's gotten so far, you would cry and just walk away like motivated, because you're just like, we are that guy. Like it's crazy, you know what I mean? Like he's that guy. It's funny. I was about to say, like, I can't wait to get him on to do this. So then that way, like, everybody can kind of get to know him a little bit more. But the funny thing is like, he's probably going to bring in an audience for me at this point, because that kid's just killing it right now. Like, he's sorry to steal the thunder from all the guys that you just put over.
No,
put
it's
it on
fine,
to Nolan. But yeah, just again, I love that kid. So what's your proudest moment that you've accomplished so far inside the ring?
Again, hard to narrow it down to one, but I mean, being able to work with some of my childhood heroes, people growing up, and now have become peers. Like I mentioned, Scott Steiner was somebody that I admired. Working with and becoming friends and having a mentor such as Rhino, such as Zach Gowen, Kevin Kelly, those guys, and I would say that my ultimate accomplishment is not what I've done in the ring, but I'd say that it's what I've done to create the reputation that I have outside of the ring, inside the business.
And you should be proud of that.
Thank you. And being able to, be, friends with you, and having friends, at Impact with Scott D'Amore, at WWE, at Ring of Honor. I mean, having those, connections and friendships. But also knowing it's like, I can't rest my laurels on that. I have to fight to make sure that I continue to be, that good person, to have the trust, like you, Madman, Fulton, and Johnny Gargano, and everybody, Rhino, too many to list. That's what I would say is my proudest accomplishment. And when it comes time for me to step away, I can go to sleep knowing that, hopefully it doesn't come to biting the ass, knock on wood, that I haven't done anything to piss off too many people in this business. So,
man, what's that like?
Go on now.
Oh God.
What's your proudest moment outside the ring? Like, I mean, I know that was kind of an outside the ring answer, but like maybe outside wrestling. Like, what's your what's Ben's proudest moment?
Outside the moment, I mean, I'll have to go back to, again, being good enough to be invited and be a part of WrestleMania. I consider that a huge honor.
I consider that a huge personal as well as a professional honor. I get that. I understand that answer for sure.
there'll be some brothers in the business. They'll be like, oh well, you were just an extra. You're only on screen for 2 seconds. Who cares? Just to be a part of the machine, to be a part of the show, is a grand honor in itself.
You know what? And I want to add on to that real quick, just because there are some people who will be like, oh, you were just an extra. And a lot of those people have never done it before. So you don't know what it's like to actually apply and do the work and be accepted to get to that. So go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
There's going to be. Hang on.
Let me interrupt. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I just want to finish this thought. There's going to be other people who may be older gentlemen who would look down at that and they would just be like, oh, now you're just being a mark. Why are you being such a mark for yourself for being happy that you got brought in as a fucking fall guy or as a fucking non-guy, or you didn't even fucking wrestle, but you got paid? You're happy about that? Listen, I was literally born in 1984. Okay. When was WrestleMania 1? 1984. Okay. This is what I was born into. Okay. Like this is literally, I've never wanted anything else in my entire life than to work for the WWE or the WWF, for example. And I understand that might sound like a markish thing to somebody, but imagine loving football so much when you're a kid, okay, that all you wanted to do was just play in the NFL. And then next thing you know, the team that you're just happen to be a local guy for and that you've been keeping in touch with, you're playing fucking like a little bit lower level ball, you know what I mean? But you're doing your best to fucking keep up. Somebody gets injured and all of a sudden that team needs a fucking guy to ride that fucking bench and literally just be a goddamn body. The Rudy story, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you get called in to go and dress for the NFL and dress for a game when all you ever wanted to do was be on that fucking field. And then you get that opportunity. And that's literally the only thing you ever wanted in your life. Did you get to play a game? Nah. Did you get to play it down? Nah. Did you think that would ever happen? No. But it did. And maybe you didn't get to go as far as you wanted to. Maybe you didn't get to play that down. Maybe you didn't get to play that game. Maybe you didn't get that moment. Maybe you didn't get to be that fucking guy who fucking went on to be an all-star and go play in the playoffs and play in the Super Bowl and win a fucking ring. But not everybody gets to. There's a minuscule amount of fucking human beings that get to do those things. And then when you scale that back, there's just the minuscule amount of people who get to even have the opportunity to just be there. It's minuscule. And I can tell you this because it took me like 17 years. So go fuck yourself. I didn't. Do you know what I'm saying here, Boone? Now here's the cool part for you. Now here's the cool part for you that I want to add on. For you, when you got to say that WrestleMania moment was one of the things of your life, now think of what I just said. Now that team that invited you to dress for a fucking game invited you to dress for the fucking Super Bowl. Everybody who thinks that is anything other than the most important shit, go fuck yourself.
Brother, you're a good motivator. That was a hell of a speech. I don't know what I could say that can top that. You know, I'm speechless. I got goosebumps. You know, you laid it out so perfectly and said it so well.
I've had people try to tear me down for being proud of that, and dude, fuck off. Like, I was proud of it. And here's the thing. I already know that, like, I'll pull the curtain back. I've been told. Now, I also found out that this isn't true, but I had one of the boys threaten me and told me I was blackballed from the company. Hey, kitty cat.
Piece of garbage.
It wasn't true. But like there was like this 2-year gap where that happened, and then like I found out that it wasn't true. That, man, like I just was like, okay, I just have to do me, because if this door is theoretically closed, okay, cool. I got there. I got to do what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? But then you're right. You can't rest on your laurels, because this is where I said this in a previous podcast. Like, when all that stuff kind of happened, I learned to, at that point, love the art as opposed to the letters. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
And then once you're able to separate the two, because again, like my entire life, I just needed to know if I could get there. And if I wasn't good enough, I knew that I had to accept that. I got there. Maybe I wasn't good enough. I have to accept it. You know what I mean? But now I know. And I could die knowing that I got that opportunity. So, and that's, and the thing is, again, not a lot of people get that opportunity. So I understand exactly why you're proud of that. And to anybody watching this who thinks it's not something to be proud of, well, I feel sorry that you never got to experience that for yourself, or I'm sorry that you've never loved something so much that you actually care about it. So that's sucks for you guys, I guess. Now, what's the best piece of advice that you can give somebody who wants to do what you do? And I am fascinated by this question because I'm excited to hear your answer.
If you really, truly want to do something, whether it's to be a professional wrestler, football player, actor, doctor, just fucking do it. There's going to be bumps along the way. There's going to be some heartache, some hardships. Don't give up. Believe in yourself. Don't stop believing in yourself. Keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And remember the reason why you're going forward on this journey, whether it's pro wrestling, whatever else that you seek out and want to do. If it falls back on you loving this, you will go far and you will love every step of the way. If you don't, and you're trying to get a quick payday, you're not going to last long. So whatever it is in life that you want to do, just fucking do it. That's all I got to say. Simply put, but honestly, people overcomplicate that so much. They truly do. And there are times where things get complicated, but I mean, you just have to work through it to the best of your ability. You'll make mistakes. You will learn from it. Or I hope you'll learn from it.
Mm-hmm. Things
that you figure out that you do well, expand upon that. But overall, don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole.
I couldn't think of a better way to fucking wrap that up. Everybody, you can find the show on Twitter and Instagram at Big Ben AF Podcast, as well as on Facebook under the name Big Ben and Friends Podcast. You can find the show on YouTube, where hopefully you're watching it right now, just by going to youtube.com/Big Ben AF Podcast. Thankfully, we have enough subscribers to do that now. So thank you very much to everybody who has subscribed. If you haven't, please hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button, leave a comment. It takes no time to do all that stuff, and it genuinely helps the algorithm of this show, and it helps me out, and it costs you nothing. You can find the audio version of this show on Anchor, which distributes the show to Spotify, and which is where I'm encouraging everybody to go watch it or listen to it, is on Spotify. So go and check that out if you haven't. We've got amazing past episodes that you can go back and watch on top of this one. If you haven't gone and watched the Madman Fulton one, who's a mutual good brother of ours, go back and watch it. He is the best, and you learn so much about him that I can't recommend enough to go back and watch it. The last episode with Psycho Mike was kind of, I don't know, maybe we've kind of led into this where I feel like I'm scrapping the format, because maybe we're just going Joe Rogan styles like this entire time now. We're just going to talk, and we'll just I don't know. But anyways, go back, listen to all these past episodes on Spotify. You can find me personally on all of my social medias at Big Ben is Angry. You can find Crossbody Pro Wrestling and the Crossbody Pro Wrestling Academy social medias all in the same place. It's CBPW Academy. You can subscribe to the Crossbody Pro Wrestling YouTube page, which is youtube.com/Crossbody Pro Wrestling Academy, where we have approximately over 30 showcase shows where you can see kids like Dickie Watts, where we were just talking about. You can actually go and watch Dickie Watts and Blake 182 wrestle Speedball Mike Bailey and Veda Scott in that main event that we were talking about before, which was a fantastic show. It was one of the later ones, so it shouldn't be that hard to find. And there's also a lot of other content on there. There's hell, we got Josh Alexander versus Rich Swann on there. Go watch it. You know what I mean? You can also find us on independentwrestling.tv. Use the code Crossbody to get 5 free days and just go watch. You can actually watch both of Ben Boone's Kitchener matches, at least anyway. The YouTube ones that we did for the Taco Fest, you can go watch on YouTube. A lot of fun those shows were. Last but not least, you can support Crossbody Pro Wrestling and our amazing wrestlers and our staff by heading to prowrestlingtees.com/Crossbody Pro Wrestling, where all of the proceeds of the shirt sales get split between the wrestler and our incredibly working hard production staff and the guy who designed our t-shirts. So there's a bit of a split there. Everybody gets it. The company takes no money whatsoever. And you know what? Lastly, I just want to throw in as well, one more time, if you're looking for a meal service plan and you're within the Ontario region, hit up www.macrofoods.ca. Use the code BIGBEN15. Get yourself 15% off of everything that is not packages. So get yourself all the individual meals, save yourself your money, some money rather anyway, and get healthy, get lean, and do so at an affordable cost, and eat well while you're doing it, you know. Boone, where can we find you on all of your socials?
All right. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Benjamin Boone 1, like the number 1. You can buy fantastic t-shirts like the one that I'm wearing. If you're listening to the audio version, you'll just have to envision it. But you can visit prowrestlingtees.com/Benjamin Boone. Find all my Bachelor Big Bear designs there. I'm on Cameo.
347 wonderful designs to choose from, ladies and gentlemen. He is a G! Sorry, you're on Cameo.
Yes, exactly. And I'm on Cameo. So, yes, that's all right. I'm on Cameo. So if you want a personal Bachelor Pad session, if you want me to tell your girlfriend, wife, how wonderful she is because you can't, throw me some money and I will gladly do that for you.
Fair enough. Go on now.
What a service! What a service!
Fuck yeah!
That's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Big Ben and Friends podcast. I am your host, Big Ben Ortmanns. This is the Bachelor, Benjamin Boone. Thank you very much for coming and doing the show, brother. I can't fucking tell you how much enough I love you and respect you, and I can't thank you enough for everything that you've done for me, and I can't wait to see you again once the borders open up. And to you watching, thank you very, very much. We couldn't do this shit without you, so I appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we will see you on the next one.
Peace!